Welcome all. Bits for You, episode 24. We have a guest, a great woman, the creator of the Over the Moon Owls on Instagram and Etsy. She goes into what inspired her to create this business and a lot more information about her background, her family, upbringing, religion. We talk about that as well. Quotes. We go into detail about a lot of things. So it's a fun episode, and I'm not gonna go into much into how to reach her. That'll be at the end. She gives that information out. So enjoy. I'm so freaking thirsty. Are you good?
I'm good.
Always?
Always.
She sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. So tell me.
What do I tell you?
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
For example, what would you
let's
like to
let's
know?
start off with your name.
My name is Diana.
Yeah. And how did you reach out to me or get get to know me? Our listeners need to know that.
The first time when we met,
Yeah.
we met on an online music sharing website.
Oh.
And you reached out to me.
Damn, you have a good memory.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll get into that later. So you have an Etsy shop and Instagram.
Yes, I do.
You make what is it that you do or make?
I started off making owls, stuffed owls.
How long ago was that?
I probably started 10 years ago. I bought an owl in Pier 1, and having that owl, I wanted more, but I didn't want to pay for more owls. So at the time, I had some extra clothes from my daughters that they grew out of, and I made owls from their clothes, and I bought some stuffing, and pretty much that's how it all started. My passion for owls.
How did you come about with that? Did you get any special training, or it's just something you decided to try out?
The high school that I went to.
High school. Okay, so let's touch on that. But before that, let's go. Where were you born?
I was born in New York.
I'm
from New York.
You from New York?
Yes.
Ah, what part of New York were you born?
My mom tells me I was born in a hospital that's no longer there. It was a Chinese hospital. It was a last minute thing.
Chinatown?
No, it wasn't Chinatown.
It was just a Chinese hospital?
That's what she says.
Your mom just says it's a Chinese hospital?
Yes. I don't know what she was on, but...
Yeah, something. We have to ask her. So you were born in a hospital. Okay. A lot of people were born in hospitals.
Yeah, I think so.
And then, so you lived what town was that?
I think that hospital was in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
But I mainly grew up in Washington Heights, which is part of Manhattan, the Upper West Side, way up there.
You lived there most of your life?
Most of my life, yes.
Yeah?
Dominican town, that's what it's called.
Wepa. And so where are your parents from?
My parents are from Dominican Republic.
Really?
DR.
DR. And how did they meet?
I think it was through mutual friends that they had. I believe so. They lived in the same town, Santiago.
So they met in DR?
They met in DR.
And love at first sight?
I believe it was.
Yeah. So what made them come to the States? particularly New York?
My father's brothers moved to New York. I think it was about 2 or 3 of them. And then they requested for my father to move. So that's how it all started.
Your father?
My father's brothers and then my father.
What did your brother... brother. What did your father do when he got here to New York? What did he... What kind of work?
I know he had a job before the job that he had until he retired, but I'm not sure what it was, the first job. But he ended up doing welding for over 40 years.
So he was a welder?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Very artistic.
Very. A man that works with his hands.
Yep.
Makes things with metal.
And the funny thing is that my father's boss didn't speak Spanish, and my father does not speak English. So I don't know how they communicated.
Sign language?
I don't know. Maybe measurements. Measurements are universal, so
yeah.
I don't know.
We have to ask him. How long? When did your parents? Around what decade did they move to America?
I know my brother and sister were already born, and they were toddlers at the time, and they're now in their 50s. So you do the math.
Oh, they're in their 50s. They were the 60s. They came here in the 60s, early 60s. Would you say?
I believe so. I think it was more like towards the end of the 60s.
Mid to end.
Yeah, 60s. Mid to late, I believe.
60s.
I don't know why 66 is coming to my head.
Okay, so maybe that around that range. All right. So your dad was a welder. And your mom, what did she do?
My mom worked in a factory when she came. I think that was like the norm back then. Do
you remember what kind of work she did there?
She used to sew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. For many years, I think.
She
even had a Singer sewing machine in the apartment. I think that was my inspiration.
You just thought this piece of machinery was cool?
Yeah. It was huge. Huge machine.
And did she do that all her life?
No, she did that, and then she decided that she wanted to get more education. So she went to... Actually, I think she switched from the factory to working as a home health aide.
Okay.
And then at the same time, she also wanted to get more education, so she went to college.
She did?
Yes.
She's the only one of your parents that went to college?
Yes. My father did not go to high school.
Okay. Oh, he didn't finish?
No.
Interesting.
My father got to the 3rd grade.
And he decided, that's it, school's not for me.
Back then, it was more that the family needed money.
So they put him to work?
Pulled him out of school and put him to work.
Young age. Wow.
Yeah.
Different times.
Totally different. That would be considered... That wouldn't fly here.
That wouldn't fly in this country.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. And so your parents moved to New York. You had 2 older... So you said a sister and a brother.
Yeah.
How many siblings do you have altogether?
4.
1 brother?
1 brother, 3 sisters.
Okay. You guys close? All of you?
Yes, pretty much. My brother we're not too close to him, but we do get to see him once in a while.
Once in a while?
Yeah.
And what about... So let's go for you. So you went to school where? Like, do you remember your...
The first school I went to was PS 128. That's in Manhattan.
Is it still around?
Yes, it is. My girls went to PS 128 for a
really?
little bit too. Yeah. After PS 128, I went to
good
IS
school?
136.
PS 128?
Yeah.
Is it good school?
I'm assuming it is. I came out of it.
Yeah.
After PS 128, I went to IS 136, which is middle school. And
how was that?
Middle school was good.
Did you have friends?
I had friends.
Yeah? Lots of friends?
A good amount.
Good amount? I want to ask, what were you raised in a religion?
Yes, I was.
What was it?
I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, Jehovah's Witness. That's not very common. It's not like the other common ones like
being Catholic.
Being Catholic or Jewish.
Or Jewish or Baptist.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was an experience.
An experience?
Yes.
How was it an experience? I want to know, how was it growing up being a Jehovah's Witness?
It's
So were all your siblings raised that way?
My mom became Jehovah's Witness when I was born.
So something
she was studying around that time, and that's when she officially became a Jehovah's Witness. When I was born, or before? Directly after.
Do you know why she decided to go there? Is it because somebody told her, "Hey, check this out"?
My mom.
What was she before? A Catholic?
She was Catholic before. Okay. She was raised Catholic, but not the Catholics that go to church all the time. I think that was just like, you say you have a religion, so you say you're Catholic.
Right.
But my mom is pretty smart, and she felt that the Catholic religion was not truthful, that it didn't satisfy her. When she asked questions regarding life and God, and
right,
she didn't believe the answers she was getting were truthful. She always questioned it. So then I believe someone knocked on her door, and that's how it all started.
A Jehovah's Witness knocked on the door.
Probably.
So they were doing that even at that time.
Yeah. Actually, it might have been my grandmother, because I think my grandmother was Jehovah's Witness before my mom. So maybe my grandmother. I think I might have it wrong. I don't have a very good memory.
It's okay. We all have memory issues from time to time. So your mom decided to raise you, and you were the last child.
I was the last child.
I was the
lucky one.
And you got the lucky Jehovah's Witness treatment.
Yes.
How was it growing up, knowing that your siblings were raised in a different religion, seeing as how Jehovah's Witness, they don't have the same beliefs as a Catholic religion? How was that growing up?
Well, growing up, I didn't really think about those things, about my siblings growing up Catholic. But I did see my friends doing things that I was not allowed to do.
For example?
Celebrate birthdays.
Right.
And celebrate Halloween, which is actually one of my favorite holidays. Getting Christmas presents, getting birthday presents.
So presents, you just like, wow, they all got presents and I didn't get anything.
But that's not something I thought of when I was little.
Yeah.
It was something I realized later on that I kind of missed out. But at the same time, the religion kept me out of trouble. I had to go to church 3 times a week.
3 times a week?
So, yeah. And go preaching.
That's knocking on the door on Saturdays?
So that kept me out of trouble.
Wow. Even in winter?
Even in winter. Yeah.
Jeez.
In winter, what they do is, instead of preaching in the streets, they go to like designated buildings and preach inside the building.
Right, so you can stay warm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you guys would like flip a coin and pick a building every other week?
It was by territories. Mm-hmm. So each group had a little territory to go to. Gotta spread that word.
Yeah?
Spread the good word.
Or some people spread the bad word, but that's different. Okay, so let's go middle school. That was good. You had friends. What high school did you attend?
I went to Fashion Industries High School. It was in downtown Manhattan.
You went all 4 years?
I went there for, I think it was 3 years. And then I went to Washington Irving High School for the last year.
For your senior year?
For my senior year.
You graduated from Washington?
Yes, George Washington. No, Washington Irving.
Oh, okay. I'll get them confused.
Yeah, 2 different high schools.
Yes, 2 different people.
Yes.
And
I enjoyed that high school very much.
The Washington Irving or the fashion one?
Fashion Industries.
What did you enjoy about it?
Sewing.
Yeah?
Yeah. My mom taught me how to sew, but that's where I got the skills.
Yeah. That's where you honed them?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else in your family have those abilities? Or your mom just decided to show you and not everybody else?
Well, my mom taught, I'm sure she taught all the girls in the family the basics, like how to sew on a button and
Mm-hmm.
how to sew a hem. But I don't think they got past that. I enjoyed it though. I didn't think I would get into that when I went to the high school, but
Mm-hmm.
it kind of called my attention, and I had a little bit of an artistic streak, so I decided to try it.
And whose decision was it for you to go to that high school?
It was, well, back then they used to give out in middle school, the last year they would give out like a brochure with different high schools.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were like science based, some of them were language based, some were artistic.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt I had a strong tendency to be artistic, so I tried it out. I did some drawings, and I sent it into the school, and they accepted me.
So it wasn't an art school, or was it art and fashion?
It was a fashion high school, but within that they had the art part of fashion, which
Mhm.
is sketching and drawing up the dresses and stuff like
Designing?
that. Then yeah, the design of it. And then after that, obviously, is the sewing part of it. And they even had modeling
Oh yeah.
at the time, yeah.
Oh, you need models to try out the clothes you design.
Exactly. Which usually were the same students.
Oh, so the students would be model the clothes. So you
Yes.
got to do that? You got to design a clothes and model it, or
No, I
No?
didn't model.
No?
I was too shy for that.
yeah, you just like find somebody else.
Yeah.
So from the year one in that high school, you started designing, or how did that work?
Yeah, they start you off slowly just to see what your skill set was, your skill level. I do remember sketching and not doing a very good job of it because I would compare myself to other students, which they were way better than me. But sewing was probably the best part of it.
You like that part?
I like sewing. It's very soothing, relaxing. Unless you sew your finger through the...
Did that happen
No.
to anybody else?
No.
No.
No, I don't remember that. I remember someone cutting themselves
Wow.
pretty badly, being rushed out, but not with the machine.
A knife, scissors.
I think it was scissors.
Really? That's no bueno.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was one of the big machines that would cut large pieces of fabric.
You're gonna have to show me that machine later.
Yes.
All right. So you had good times. You had good friends.
I had kooky friends.
Kooky friends. Do you
Yeah.
stay in touch with any of those people?
No, I don't.
No?
No.
Oh.
Lost track of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Most of
It
them.
happens.
I do see some of my old friends from middle school on Facebook, but I haven't reached out to them.
And they haven't reached out to you?
No.
So it's like it's like you wish them well, but nobody gives a shit enough to reach
Yeah,
out.
I think so.
Yeah. It happens. Even with family, like especially with like cousins. I mean, like for example, me, I love my cousins. We're far away from each other, different states, but none of us at times, I guess we could say, give a shit enough to reach out.
Yeah, it's called life.
Yeah. Busy, work, school, family, kids, sleeping.
Very important.
Yeah. I guess. So what happens after you graduate high school, like your senior year? What did you do with your life at that point?
After graduating, I tried out college for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So did you have a plan, like what you wanted to do in college? Or you just went to college but no plan?
I actually signed up. Well, not signed up.
Like a degree in mind.
My
Or major
at the time, I don't know what possessed me, but I wanted to try dentist assistant.
Like a dental hygienist? Or is that what they call it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you chose that.
Mm-hmm.
And
that
then?
worked out for about 2 semesters.
And then you're like, that's it, no more.
Yeah.
Did you continue or did you stop college after that point?
I stopped college after that. In my late 20s, I started up again.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So...
The college, I think college, if you don't really enjoy school, college, like school meaning 1 through 12, if you don't really enjoy that too much, I don't think college will work out.
Did you enjoy school?
Only English.
Only English?
And sewing.
No math, no history,
no science.
Science?
Science and English.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those are your favorite subjects.
Favorite subjects. I love to read.
So what else happened after college?
After college, I was still going to church.
Were you married at the time? Did you have a boyfriend? Nothing after high school?
College, that's when I met my daughter's father. And
how old were you when you met him?
About 18.
18. Okay.
Yeah, probably going on to 19.
Okay. So he's the dad of your girls.
Yes. And
how long did that last?
That lasted for 7 years. And then after that, I decided I wanted to...
So let's go back. So when did your girls, when were they born?
I got married in July and I was...
How old were you when you got married?
19.
Oh, young.
And then after that, I was married for 7 years. Then I decided I wanted to move and try something different. So at 28 years old.
And your girls were born how long after marriage?
I got married in July and the girls were born...
They're twins.
Following July.
They're twins.
The following July.
A year later.
Born. Yeah, the twins.
The twins.
So then after that, I came here to Florida.
Right after?
No.
They were born?
The girls were like 6 or 7 years old when I moved here.
So what made you go to Florida? Why did you want to go to Florida?
I wanted a different... I wanted my girls to have a different upbringing. I didn't want them to grow up in the city.
No? What was it about the city? Go ahead. Gesundheit.
Thank you. I mean, I had not been to Florida often. Maybe once before. But at the time, I had met someone and he lived here, so I moved here.
So the girl's father's no longer in the picture?
No longer in the picture.
You left. So what happened there? Why did that...
Divorce?
Yeah, why did the divorce happen?
It didn't work out.
Didn't work out?
No.
Oh. So you were divorced. You were a single mom when you decided to move to Florida.
Yes.
Risky move.
Very risky. No job. I had a steady job in New York.
Uh-huh. What were you doing in New York? You don't have to say where you worked. I mean, you could say where you worked, but you could... What field?
Insurance.
Insurance?
Mm-hmm.
And then one day you decided, let me just get out of here?
Yeah.
Go to Florida?
Mm-hmm.
The Sunshine State?
The Sunshine State.
And how did your friends and family feel about that? Single mom with twins.
I'm sure my family was not 100% happy, but it wasn't their decision to make. It was my decision.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to accept it.
Or not.
Or not.
There's nothing they can do.
Exactly. So I moved. And I found a job within the first 3 months.
It's not so bad.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing in that job? I mean, what field?
Banking. Started in banking.
What year did you move to Florida?
2003. April.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
how old were you at the time?
28, I believe. 28, 29. Mm-hmm. Actually, 27 or 28.
And how was it in Florida? That first year?
Oh, I was in the honeymoon year.
Really?
Yeah, where you're in love with everything in Florida.
You liked everything right away?
I loved it, even the smell. The smell and the
rain. What does Florida smell like?
It smells cleaner.
Well, what part of Florida?
I was in Miami.
Okay, South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
It smelled like what?
Clean.
Clean? It doesn't smell like New York?
No.
What does New York smell like?
It smells like garbage.
Garbage? What does garbage?
Especially in the summer.
Oh, yeah?
Every street corner has a distinct smell. You can smell everything that passed by there the day before.
In New York.
Yes. You can even smell the urine of the bums.
Ay. Urine has a very distinct odor. So Florida, you love the smell right away. The first year.
Yep, and the colorful buildings too. Because in New York, everything is gray or brown or brick color. So the colorful houses and buildings, I was in a honeymoon state for a while.
And how did your girls deal with the move?
They liked it because the girls love the beach. At the time, they loved it a lot, and I used to take them to the beach a lot.
Yeah, they love the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you could do a lot in New York.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to drive for an hour or more to get to the beach.
And here it's just 20 minutes.
Yep.
Or less, depending how close you are.
Mm-hmm. So I put them in swimming classes when I got here, and they learned how to swim that summer, and that was it. They were good to go.
Did you take swimming classes?
Who?
You.
No.
Do you swim?
I do not swim.
Why is that?
Because I've had bad experiences.
Like what?
When I was about 2 years old, I almost drowned.
In the ocean or a pool?
In the ocean. I started walking towards the water, and even though I don't know how many family members were there, I somehow escaped and walked straight into the ocean, and the waves knocked me down, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I almost drowned. That was my first experience, almost drowning. And after that, I've had about 4 experiences doing almost drowning. So that's not for me.
Well, the water's not your friend.
No.
So you decided to put your girls in swimming classes so that at least they don't drown.
Exactly.
And and if you're all together, they can save you.
Yes.
Smart
they
mom.
can drag me out of the water.
All right. So what were you doing besides working at the bank? You were 28, 29.
I learned how to drive.
Oh, so you learned how to drive here?
I learned how to drive here. It was a necessity.
Yeah, it's not the same in New York.
In New York, it's not a necessity. It's a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned how to drive. I was freaking out at first, but then I got the hang of it.
It's not so hard.
It's not. It's like riding a bicycle.
Oh, really? And so you're 28, 29, you learn how to drive. Were you dating at the time? Did you meet some guy, did you remarry? Or?
I remarried.
Okay. How long did that last?
Almost 7 years.
Oh, so your 7 years is the lucky
7-year
number.
itch, yeah.
After 7 years, you decide that, okay.
Mm-hmm. Enough is enough.
Yes, I hope the next one, it doesn't happen for the 7 years.
I hope not. If there's a next one. I'm kidding.
Oh. Well, hopefully I'm the next one. So you remarried after 7 years. So how old were you when that ended?
I don't really remember. Probably 30-something, 34, most likely. It was 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It happened right before my sister got married.
Where does she live?
In New York.
Okay. So that yours ended, she got married. Nice. How things work out.
Yep.
Something ends and something new begins. All right. And when did you decide to start this passion of making these creative owls?
The owls.
You were mentioning that you bought something in Pier 1?
Yeah. The owl started after the second divorce. It was probably just me trying to start up a hobby or do something.
Distract yourself? Is that what were you trying to do, or?
Yeah, I would say so. So I got the owl in Pier 1, and it probably sat on my bed for a couple months. And then I thought of, okay, maybe I'll get a friend for the owl.
Mm-hmm.
And
a friend for the owl?
Yes.
You wanted to create one?
Yeah. So I started sewing them actually, before that, I used to make I had a dog, and I would make clothes for him.
You would make clothes for your dog.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're one of those people
Yes.
that makes clothes for pets.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. Look at my peta. And then?
And then
you made clothes for your dogs?
So I made clothes for the dogs,
Mhm.
and then the dog was no longer in my life, so then I started making owls, and after I made I don't know, maybe 4 or 5, I saw that I had a knack for it, so I started to look around and see if I could somehow turn it into a business or sell them
Around that time?
around that time.
How long ago was that?
That was probably 2009, 2010.
And what happened with that idea of trying to make a profit of these creations?
The first time around, I made a couple of them. I sold one at work, and it just didn't seem right at the time. It didn't work out. It didn't flow. So I pretty much put my sewing machine away.
Around that time?
Around I did it probably for a couple months, and then I got busy with life again, and I stopped sewing. But it's always there in my head.
What's always there?
I'm always thinking of what to do next or something different. I see a piece of fabric and I want to use it for something.
Yeah. Your mind starts tinkering away with creations.
Yeah.
Your imagination starts going wild.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's the mind of an artist.
I guess.
Everybody's mind works in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine definitely is.
So that's when you started. You put it away for years. How long ago did you decide to go back into the swing of things and start creating again?
I would say I started 3 years ago or 2.5 years ago. I started again. I pulled out my machine. I made sure that it was working. And this time I didn't have extra clothes to start with. So I started buying fabric and buttons and all the knickknacks you need to sew. And a new sewing machine came around about 6 months ago or more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it.
So you, about 6 months ago or more, you decided to, let me give this another shot?
No, that was probably a year ago. I moved to a new apartment and I had like the perfect corner to put a little sewing area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it started up again. And for some reason, this time it flowed. I started making them and taking pictures of them.
So why did it start up again? Like, some people want to know what inspired you, because I'm sure there's people out there listening and they want to know, how did this come about? Is it something in your life that you were doing? Was it work? Was it exercise? A lot of things inspire people.
I think what inspired me was having a new place, and being in a good state of mind, meaning just being not happy, because happiness is a state of mind, but just being content with where I was. That's what started it up, and I know that I have it in me, and a lot of people enjoy. I've seen, just with the first one that I made, and I took a picture of it and I took it to work, and I saw how people just started reacting to it, smiling and saying, "Oh, I want one," and it flowed.
So it brings you joy when people give you positive, feedback when they enjoy what you create.
Yes, definitely.
Like a lot of artists.
Yes.
That's what they create.
Mm-hmm.
And not only for self-enjoyment, but others.
Yeah, because for everybody, when they ask me for an owl, I usually ask them what their favorite colors, or what color their bedroom is, or because usually they just sit them down on their bed.
Okay. So you don't have a preset design. You design owls based on what they tell you, or what you or did they give you free reign to do whatever you want?
It depends. Even when I'm given free reign, I still want to know what the customer prefers and if they want what they're going to use it for. If they're going to give it away to a child or if they're keeping it, or it depends on the person. There was one customer that wanted she wanted one for her anniversary. So she asked me to make a bride and groom owl, which was a lot of fun.
A bride and a groom.
Yes. I think it was her 20th anniversary, and she wanted to put it close to I think she was hanging up her wedding photo. She had expanded it, made it bigger, and she was going to hang it up in her living room, and she wanted the two owls to be close to her wedding picture, like to commemorate her anniversary.
Okay.
Their anniversary. So depending on what they want it for is usually where I start.
That sounds fair. You take a little bit of their
they have
what they want.
Yeah, they have to direct me, at least give me, to me, where it's going to go and what it's going to be used for is probably one of the most important things. There was another person that asked me for a Hawaiian inspired one.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a fabric that was a little bit Hawaiian looking. I think it had hibiscus flowers on it. And I used some burlap fabric, make it a little bit tropical. Put a flower on its head.
I want one of those.
But it's funny, I make so many of them and I don't have one of my own, because usually when I make one, it gets sold.
Really?
Yeah.
So, have you made some in a while? Recently?
It's been a while.
How long?
I believe February was the last one. So it's overdue. My hands are itching for it.
So that's why you're here, because you want to let people know that you're ready?
Yep.
They can find you on Instagram?
They can find me on Instagram.
Where?
Over the Moon Owls is the Instagram. And
you have an email?
I have an email.
Is it on the Instagram?
It's on the Instagram, I believe. But
what's the email?
It's overthemoonowls@gmail.com. And there you can reach out to me if you like and can place an order or ask me for pictures, whatever you need.
And there's a link to, do you have a website or you said Etsy earlier? Etsy shop?
Yeah, there's an Etsy shop. It's the same name, Over the Moon Owls.
And that's on your Instagram?
That's also linked to my Instagram.
All right.
Most of the owls, well, not most, all of the owls have been one of a kind. All of them look different. And
what else do you make?
All have their own personality.
You give them a personality?
Yes. Some of them are
every
females,
creation.
others are males. Depends.
Oh, I did not know that. What do you only create owls? I'm looking at your Instagram. There's just little different things here.
I make.
There's like a bag here as well.
I make owls. I make pillows. I make.
I need a new pillow.
Hobo bags. They're pretty much.
Do I get a discount? Hello?
Yeah. Those are pretty much it. That was the last thing I made, the bags.
That's not bad. So let's go a little bit more about you. So what do you do? What kind of music do you listen to?
I would say it's alternative music, 80s music.
For example?
New wave.
What are some of your favorite bands?
Right now I'm into Future Islands.
They're a good band.
Back in high school I was into Depeche Mode and The Cure.
They have a new record, Depeche Mode.
Yes. Psychedelic Furs. I'm still into them.
They're coming to Miami.
Miami. Yeah.
We should go.
Yes, we should.
Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. What else do you listen to?
I like ambient music too. I like Bon Iver, Coldplay, relaxing music. I enjoy.
Yeah.
Meditation music, chanting.
So you meditate.
Yes, I do.
Why do you meditate?
I do it to deal with stress.
Do
Mostly.
Jehovah's Witness meditate? Do they? Is that something that there's no meditation?
That's not really allowed because Jehovah's Witnesses see it as going into like a trance, and they believe that when you're in that state, bad energy can get inside of you and cause you to do harm.
Mm. So,
or
to people
demons.
listening, does that mean that you are no longer practicing?
I'm no longer practicing Jehovah's Witness.
What made you stop the practice? And how long ago was it that you stopped?
I was probably 18 when I stopped.
Oh, so right after high school.
Yes.
Do you remember why?
I met the girl's father, and that's not really allowed.
What's not allowed?
And Jehovah's Witnesses have to. They should. I mean, it's not that they have to, but they should marry within the religion.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was not.
And I did not.
Okay. But just because you don't practice, does that mean that you still believe in a higher power?
I do believe in a higher power or energy, Jehovah. I know that we're not here just because, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's more that people have good and bad in them, and it just depends what they allow to take over, either the good or the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a little bit of.
I think everybody has a little bit of bad in them.
Everybody.
It's just they have to decide. Okay, if this happens, if I commit this or do this bad thing, that they themselves know it's bad, and they know that society will see it as bad. What are the consequences? Is it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Who will I hurt? Most people think about that and they're like, okay, I'm not going to do it. Some people don't give a shit. And they probably have no control.
Exactly. I think that's what happens.
Or they decide not to, or they stop caring and they just commit these bad acts. Or...
Yeah, for example, a rapist or... Yeah, somebody that rapes, for example. I'm sure that they, not in all cases, but a lot of them have the urge, let's say, since they were young. And it just builds up and builds up. Some people can control it, but others cannot. Or, the need to rape might overpower their good part, their good side.
Mm-hmm.
So they go out and commit
the evil act.
The evil act because they can't control it. It's more powerful than their good side or the side that controls those urges. So
they don't really sit down and maybe think about the things or the consequences.
I don't think they think of the consequences. I don't even. Yeah, that's definitely not a thought, because if they did think of the consequences, it wouldn't happen.
I've seen documentaries and read books that some of these people, where they do, acts of, where they hurt people, whatever the act is. Most of them say that they don't think that far ahead. They just act on instinct.
Exactly.
And their instincts take over and they commit these acts.
Exactly.
Some of them do, but from what I've read and seen, and they just say that they try to push that voice, put it away so they can commit these acts, because the voice is telling them, hey, this is bad, don't do it, but they just they just push it away and they continue to do it. So
that kind of reminds me of something more basic and where you really don't hurt anyone else but yourself.
What is it?
When you get that urge to buy that Haagen-Dazs ice cream and you have the
good person. But they're so fucking good, these Haagen-Dazs ice cream.
Exactly. But it's pretty much the same thing.
Man, now I want one.
Either
That's
you
so
can
bad.
quiet that voice down and
Mm.
tell them I'm not getting that Haagen-Dazs ice cream, or you could just go and get it.
I think I want to go get it. Let me talk to my other voice and see if they could talk me away from
The
it.
little devil
Yeah,
on
yeah,
your
yeah.
shoulder
I'm gonna see if they
and
could.
the angel on the other side.
Yeah, yeah. So where were we before that? Now I lost track.
Religion, I believe that's.
Oh
what
yeah,
I started.
so you believe in God or a higher power, but you left the Jehovah's Witness religion when you were 18, 19, or 18. Okay. Your girls, did you raise them in a religion or?
No, the girls know. Well, I tried teaching them that there is a higher power, but they have a
So
mind of their
you
own.
you taught them that there is a God.
Yes, and I think they even took. I think I showed them.
Do they still think that way?
I'm not 100% sure.
You haven't had that discussion with them
No,
recently?
I have not.
Okay. Does it matter?
No,
Oh.
that doesn't. It doesn't change anything.
No.
For me, whether a person believes or not.
Yeah.
That's personal decision if you want to believe or not. Can't force that on anyone.
Some people want to force it on people.
Yeah, that's.
What do you think about that?
No, I don't agree. If you want to be religious, go ahead, but you don't have to force that on anyone.
What do you think about these people that, like, what's the word? They put it in your face like all the time. Does that bother you? Or they talk about it all the time. For example, you have colleagues at work or friends and family. Does that bother you, or do you wish that they wouldn't talk about it, or?
It depends.
Or
on
even
the day,
or even
probably.
if, huh?
Depends on the day.
Oh yeah, on your mood.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because I don't believe.
Yes, I'm aware.
Yeah. Well, because you're in a relationship with me.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about that? How did you feel about that when you heard that I don't believe?
It's called acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You looked beyond the religion or lack of religion, lack of believing in.
Yeah, and you're not the first person
in the higher power
that I know that doesn't believe.
Do you consider me an atheist?
I don't know. Atheist to me is, I don't like that word.
Good, because I don't like labels.
I don't really like that.
I don't
word.
consider myself an atheist. I just to when it comes to the bottom of this, when somebody asks me, I just flat out, depending on who it is and how, if they can handle it, which most of the time I just try to be as real as possible and just tell them. If they ask me, "Oh, do you believe in God?" I'm like, "No, I don't believe in any religion." If they ask me why, I'm like, I just don't give a shit. I just don't believe in none of that. You know, I don't have an issue with people. You know, I'm not. To me, atheists sometimes, for at least the ones that I've known, they try to push it on people. Like, oh, they try to like get you to. They try to talk down to you, to the people that do believe, and try to make them sound like they're dumb because they believe in something that isn't there, that we've never seen. So I don't like it when so-called atheists do that, and that's why I don't consider myself an atheist. I just don't believe. I just don't give a shit. That's the honest answer I give people.
So if someone comes to you and they start preaching to you, what
preaching to me?
Yes.
I just tell them, I'm sorry, I don't believe in anything. You're preaching to the wrong person. You're not gonna convince me.
So you're not agnostic. That you just...
No, agnostic, from what I understand, they believe in something like a higher power, but they don't think it's a God. They don't think it's the God that the major three religions of this world believe in. And I just don't believe in anything.
Yeah, I think for agnostics is also, they have no way to
prove it, right?
So they don't believe because it cannot be proven.
Or agnostics, maybe they don't want to be a part of any common religion, so they just like, okay, I'm not religious. They believe in a higher being or higher power, but they don't fall into any group.
So since you don't believe in God, do you believe in demons?
No.
Do you believe in angels?
No, nothing.
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 So demons do not exist.
They do not exist.
But you believe in energy.
I meditate. Yes, I believe in energy. Like,
do you believe in bad energy?
Like this, I'm more in this. I take the scientific route. So science believes there's energy all around us. Mm-hmm. The universe is full of energy, planets, everything. We're all made of star particles, stardust. Everything in this world, everything in other worlds, it's made of that energy. So I don't see it as good or bad energy. I can't get too scientific into that right now because I have to research that to talk about it. But I believe that we're all made of energy. Atoms, cells and things. I take more of the scientific route because at least that's proven. I lost. I think it was around the age. I mean, as a kid, I grew up as a kid, you're taught, Santa Claus is real, mm-hmm. the Easter Bunny is real. Mm-hmm. So as a kid, I was like, okay. I started putting pieces together. I'm like, okay, so Santa Claus they say it's real. He brings gifts, but then this person is dressed as him. He's in a mall. Or my grandfather, he used to dress up as Santa Claus. He used to come to the house and bring us gifts. I knew it was him. I'm like, come on. I was like 5 or 6 years old or younger. I was like, in my mind, I was like, really? Don't bullshit me.
I could imagine your face when you realized that was your grandfather.
Yeah. So around the age of 8 or 9, I started questioning. I'm like, okay, this is all bullshit. Obviously, 8 or 9, I didn't even know the word bullshit, but I don't remember the word, so I'm using it now. This is all bullshit. There's no Santa Claus. There's no Easter Bunny. There's no Jack Frost. There's none of that. That's all made up. It's fairy tales. That's how I see religion, as a tale, as a legend to teach people good values, the 10 Commandments. To bestow values in a society, and that's my.
So basically,
I can go deeper into it, but I just
people.
Not control, because even though most religions have been used to control people, some of them will say, "Hey, you gotta give me X amount of money," and over the millennia. Not just saying now, over hundreds or thousands of years. I don't think it's only control. And I see the good that religion has on people. It helps people. And those are the good parts I like about religion. But I wouldn't associate that with a higher power that there is anything like that. I just don't connect the two. I'm not saying get rid. I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, religion is evil. No, I don't think it's purely evil. Although I know acts of evil that have been committed on the name of religion or God, whether it's Christianity, Islam, whatever, pick one. I'm sure there's been evil acts committed on such a religion.
We're all human, no matter what.
Right. Everybody interprets it their way and does radical things. So, but I see the good in it. I see that, somebody can say, oh, religion helped me. I'm better myself. But it goes back to those morals and morals before religion, because religion isn't something that's humans have been around longer than religion. Does that mean that there weren't any morals before religion?
No.
I'm sure there were. I think it's within us. When we see that when a person commits an evil act on somebody, whether we're talking about thousands of years when the cavemen, prehistoric times, when they get a rock and they smash it on somebody's foot and the person starts crying or in pain, they're like, okay, we can't do this again because this person is yelling and crying. We know that's painful. Let's not act upon that. But then there's people that don't care and will commit these evil acts and smash a rock on somebody's foot or on their head and kill them. Mm-hmm. That's just everywhere. That's human nature. I went a little bit too off topic there. Sorry. So I would say around the age of going back to me, or around that age is when I stopped. When I said that religion is bullshit. My mom would made me and my brothers go to Sunday school around that age, around 10, maybe a little after. So it was like 10 or 11. And I questioned some things. I think maybe it was in the group. Like the whole story of the guy living in the belly of the whale for like 3 days. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. How the heck is he gonna live in the So I just don't, when you question something, there's not really a direct answer. At least when I've questioned religion. Like, how is that? Oh, then most of the times they'll say, "Oh no, but that's just a tale that was made. That's not fact. Obviously, a man can't live in the belly of a whale for 3 days or whatever." I'm like, okay, so that's a tale, but this is not. How do you know that? Were you there 2,000 years ago when they wrote this book? No. So I see that people are nitpicking things for their own personal value.
So how do you think that we're all here? How did we get here?
Nobody really knows. I mean,
Do you have any theories? Do you believe in the Big
science?
Bang?
Yeah, I mean, even though we weren't there when that happened, what is it, 13, 14 billion years ago? But science has concrete data that they can sort of prove. There's that reactor in Geneva that's, I think, underground. It's X amount of miles, and they're shooting atoms and protons almost at the speed of light. There was a documentary about it called The God Particle. I think it was on Netflix, or still is. Pretty good documentary that goes into more detail about that. I stick to I tend to follow more the science part of it.
For me, it's just hard to believe that so much variety can be created with just no one to direct it. There's so much variety.
I don't think we're alone in the universe. It's impossible that we're the only living
I agree.
species.
I agree. But then that's the thing for me. It's when you're raised a certain way, and then it's kind of difficult to stray from that as you get older and you're no longer practicing, because it's always there in the back of your mind what you learned as a child. And it's hard for me to believe that we all came from just like an explosion.
Right.
It's difficult when you think of the variety of things that there.
The Big Bang.
Yeah. It's so, just think of flowers. There's so many different flowers. How can that just be from just like an explosion? Like, how is that possible? Such perfection.
Right. Flowers are perfect.
Yes.
For you.
Flowers, trees.
Nature,
the way everything has its purpose, the way plants give off chemicals that we
do
need to
you
breathe.
think that we're alone in the universe?
No, definitely not. I'm not that type of person where,
when science has proven that there's planets not too far away from us that are exoplanets, Earth-like planets that have a star, a sun, in the right amount of distance to have life. Do you think that one day that they'll find life?
It'll be discovered. We're not alone. That I know for sure, because I think most people that do believe we're alone, they can't think out of the box, or they can't go that far. But
why do you think that they can't think that way, or they don't go that far?
It could be religion that's controlling, because in religion we're the only
right
ones.
So controlling, you said the word. That's the thing about religion, that when you question something, they don't really have an answer. Mm-hmm. While a scientist has an answer and can say, well, this is proven, here it is, it's right in front of you, let's do a test. Look, see, it happens all the time. That's where I lean towards. When religion, when you question it, there's no clear cut. Oh, it just happens because God said so. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I don't consider myself a religious person. I think I'm more towards the spiritual side, where I think that everyone has good in them and bad.
Like eating that Haagen-Dazs ice cream,
Like
that's very
eating
bad.
that,
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Haagen-Dazs ice
Delicious. Okay, I'm going to stop tempting.
cream.
All right, so let's go on. So you meditate. Did you say why you meditate?
Yeah, I started meditating because I think in the beginning it was more curiosity, and then it turned into
How long have you been meditating?
probably 7 years, 7 or 8 years.
And how did that start? You were curious?
Yeah, I was probably just like curious to see how it felt, if I was even able to do it. And I do like peace and quiet, so why not try to meditate while I'm in peace and quiet?
Does it work? What do you feel when you meditate? Or can you tell us what you feel during meditation and after?
During meditation, just not even peace. It's not peace. It's just, it's quiet. Quiet, your mind is quiet. The thoughts are pretty much non-existent. Sometimes there's different kinds also. Like if I want to, I'll just go into a place that I like to go to when I need to just relax.
How long do you meditate for on average?
10 minutes, 15.
And how do you feel after?
After, I feel more centered. Sometimes I feel like I can focus easier because my thoughts are... I've been able to get rid of some thoughts that have been going around in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get so relaxed that I fall asleep. Sometimes I was going through issues at work and I would meditate in my car right before going into the office. And that helps too.
That help you get through the chaotic day?
Yeah.
Interesting. And what else do you do besides that?
Besides meditation?
Yeah. Do you walk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Walking is good.
How do you feel after walking?
After walking, I feel like Superwoman.
Really?
Yeah. It's those endorphins that kick in.
Mm-hmm.
Where you feel you can't do wrong.
That's true. What else do you enjoy doing besides meditating, listening to kick-ass music?
I like to knit. I haven't done that in a while, but it's fun. It's very relaxing. It's kind of like sewing for me. I like to color, adult coloring books. I used to draw. I haven't been drawing in a long time. And reading. Reading is also relaxing.
Reading?
Mm-hmm.
What do you like to read?
Novels.
Novels? That's... I meant what genres?
I like to read biographies.
Okay.
And I like to read when I was younger, I developed a habit of reading historical romances.
Historical romances.
And time travel.
You like time travel?
Yeah.
Back to the Future?
No, usually to the past.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, but the movie. Do you like that movie?
Oh, the movie? Of course I like that movie.
All right. How about quotes? There was a poll I did on Twitter. Does reading positive quotes and affirmation improve or make your days better? So 67% said that it does nothing to their mental state.
Wow. Interesting.
And 33%, it makes them feel better.
33%. I think that I'm probably...
A couple of people... One second. Okay, so somebody wrote on Twitter, it's at Ash Dylan. Hopefully I'm saying that right. She says, it really depends on the quote and how I'm feeling. There are different levels of positive quote. Some are really striking, others meh. And then another listener says, at Miss Rage a lot 85. She says, makes you feel good for a second after reading it, then you go back to normal life for me. So you got those responses.
Okay.
So you were saying about those?
I think I could fall into both. There are days that a good quote will get me going, and as soon as I get preoccupied with something,
you forget.
It's pretty much gone. But sometimes it comes back.
Yeah, you remember that quote. I think
about it again, and so I think it probably is momentary. But if you can somehow find a way to remind yourself, like printing it out and putting it at your desk, or keeping it as your desktop picture on your laptop, there's different ways to do it to try to stay in that positive mindset. But for the most part, I think they're helpful.
They help you.
Yeah. Especially if you're not feeling that great mentally.
So you just take out your phone and you go to a website and read something, a quote.
Mm-hmm.
Do any quotes stick out at the moment, or
no?
You want to find one?
Well, there's one that I really like. I believe it goes something like... No, I can't remember.
No? Okay, when you remember...
Do you have any in your mind right now?
No. None. Oh, wait, this one. This is a great quote. I'm going to say it in the... I want to try my best to say it in the voice of that the character says it. Do or do not. There is no try.
You see those things,
Yoda.
like those kind of quotes.
You either do it or you don't.
Yeah,
don't try. Just do it or don't do it.
That's empowering. At the right moment, it can empower you to do something.
Master Yoda is very empowering.
Yes.
So going back, so since everybody knows you're in a relationship with me, I don't know why, because I must drive you nuts. How is it being in a relationship with someone like me that doesn't believe? Do you think that that's better for the relationship, or not so good? Do you think people should stick with people that are in their own religion, or even date or be in a relationship with someone outside of the religion, or someone that doesn't believe?
I definitely don't think that religion should be a part of decision making for a partner. I don't think it should be.
Why?
I mean, depending on how deep you are into religion, there are people that have their lives revolve around religion, but for the most part, a Catholic will go to church once a week?
For the most part?
For the most part, if they do at all.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of Catholics that go weekly, but...
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't see how that would affect your relationship. But there are people that are deeply into religion, and I could see, depending on the level, it might affect a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But I think two people with two different ways of thinking when it comes to being spiritual or believing in God, I think it makes the relationship more interesting. I think there's a lot to talk about.
Have you ever been in a relationship with someone that is overly religious?
No.
Or dated, or just gone out and all they did was talk about...
No.
Oh shit, you're lucky. I have been with... I've dated, years ago, women that I think it was like a couple that all they did was talk about God. Oh, we should go to church. And I'm like, yeah, no, bye. Never picked up the phone again. Not me.
I don't
care if the person is religious, obviously, because you believe and we're together, but you're not the type that shoves it down a person's throat 24/7.
And
We really don't talk about it. I mean, much. I mean, if times we do, and there's nothing. I don't say anything bad or talk down about it, or you don't talk down about it to me because I don't believe.
And I don't see you as the type of person that's not accepting, because you even went to unity with me.
Yeah, it's they focus on meditation for people that don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of non-denominational, but their main focus
they do mention
is meditation
God, because I've been there, as you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't shove.
But they mention God more as an energy, not so much the way people focus on like a person, like a physical. The way people focus on Jesus.
On the Christian God? You mean they don't focus on God like that way?
I think they see it more as having God within each person.
Like what? Energy or the power within each of us?
Power.
Why do you think they put the term God? Because it's something that we can relate?
Yeah, it's something that everyone can relate to. So do positive quotes? Do you like to read positive quotes? Is that something that
I don't go.
You don't go looking for them,
yeah.
But do you enjoy them when they come to you?
If they're on social media, like if somebody posts it, I'll read it and okay, that was nice. Yeah, I just said Yoda's quote. That's pretty badass. So
what were we talking about before?
I don't fucking remember. I'm trying to go back.
I think we were talking about stress.
Did we talk about it?
No, not stress. Meditation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with stress?
I have two extremes. Either I let it take over and I go crazy, or I somehow find a way to control it.
How do you control it?
I think the most important thing to control stress is breathing. Just a deep breath. Breathing in and breathing out. It kind of takes your mind from all those thoughts that are stressing you, and it focuses it on something as basic as breathing, which we need to live.
That helps you.
That helps me. Some people do it by counting also. They count.
Do you see yourself as a person that gets stressful a lot, or
stressed?
Yeah, or very anxious at times?
Yes.
As
I've gotten older.
What causes that?
Sometimes it's just situations or too many thoughts at once stress me out. And the anxiety, I think, is more as I've gotten older. Sometimes, I don't know, I tend to think a little bit too much in the future instead of staying in the present. And that's sometimes overwhelming.
Yes. When I was younger, I was in the same mindset. I would think too much in the future and it would overwhelm me. In my early 20s, what am I going to do in my life? What am I going to do? College. I'm in college. Is this right? What am I going to study? And around my mid-20s, I was like, you know what? Fuck that shit. I just take it one day at a time, go with the flow. Obviously, not having a plan, but not thinking about it or worrying or stressing that the plan is going exactly into detail. If things go different paths, I allowed myself to be accessible or to allow those paths to go down that route. Mm-hmm. That's how I dealt with it.
My father always says that there's no point in worrying because everything will play itself out and there's no way to control how things... I mean, you can try to control a little bit, but what you think is control it's really not control.
We can't control nothing in this world.
Exactly, so...
We don't even control our breathing. Our body does it for us. We could choose not to breathe and then, we suffer the consequence of death. But for the most part, there's nothing we can control. And I think that's where people get stressed, get anxious because they want to be in control of things, people, partners, kids, work, you name it. And then
That's when you lose yourself.
That's when they end up hurting. Eventually, it could backfire.
And I think once your body learns how to stress, or not how your body learns, but once you get used to stressing out, it's very hard to not. You have to really focus on not allowing it to happen.
How do you focus on not allowing it?
For me, I just try to keep it present all the time. To know that it can happen, which, I mean...
Is that when you send me a text like, holy shit, I'm freaking out?
Yeah.
What happens?
But the thing is, there's people that can handle stress really well. I don't know how, and I've tried. There's some people that actually like stress because it makes them...
people that like stress?
Not stress, but to be overly challenged, or...
I think that's different than stress, though.
It's not... Yeah, I wouldn't say it's stress, but there's people that like to be under pressure. They enjoy it. I'm not that person. That's why I would never want to be anyone's boss, because...
Oh, the pressure?
I don't like that pressure. I don't like to control people.
And that's where meditation for you fits in, and walking and jogging, because it releases the endorphins in your brain and you start feeling better.
Yeah. And just being out in nature is therapy in itself.
It is. It's in our DNA. A lot of people stay inside an office or the house. They buy stuff. They're materialistic. I want to buy this, I want to buy that. And there's a world out there that you can go walk in a park and enjoy nature. It's in our, there's been studies I've read that walking just a few minutes outside in your park, in your local, it's anywhere, your neighborhood. The mind, they've done studies, the patterns in the mind change. You feel peace, you feel happier, because and it goes back to our prehistoric ancestors. The memory is passed down through DNA. Studies have shown. So we feel ourselves outside in nature. We feel, like our ancestors did.
I think I heard also that when it comes to like instinct and remembering our ancestors, I think I read that there's a tendency, not all men, I wouldn't say all, because I know there's men that don't like that, but one time I read that men tend to like women with wider thighs, or not thighs, but like the waist being
I know
small,
where you're,
and the thigh area being bigger, because that's more for like childbearing.
I know where you're going with, but I don't know. I didn't see the connection with the waist. I know back then, hundreds of years ago, even back in the times when this country was formed, you saw, there was no cameras back then, but there was paintings, and the women were, curvier. And
it was considered more the chance of a child being born and for it to continue living, not dying like in their first year. It was more with women that were, heavier set, because obviously they had the milk production, and they can carry a baby because they're strong.
Right. They're not fragile.
Yeah. So I kind of believe in that too. But not all men like that. So
not all men like what?
Bigger women.
How do you know?
Because I know.
You've read it?
Some men are into skinny women, model type women.
Yeah. I know some men. Yeah. That's not for me.
Well, obviously, if you're with me.
But you're not skinny or,
Well, I have big legs. So.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
The best workout, going back to being out in nature, the best workout that I've had, not only the best workout for my body, but for my mind was one time that I became not addicted, but I enjoyed a lot running near the beach on the sand. I think there's something about smelling the ocean that it makes you feel so at peace and at the same time energized.
You, who has a fear of water, liked running near water.
Not on the beach. Yeah, exactly.
Fascinating. It's good on your knees too, they say. I've read that the running on sand, on anything that's soft,
it's forgiving
good
for your joints.
Running on the sidewalk or on the street, it's not good for your joints.
Yeah.
Especially once you get to the age of in your mid-40s, they say your joints start.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel the pain.
It sucks to get old.
Sometimes. Sometimes. You have knowledge.
Yeah.
Your wisdom. You can pass it down.
Definitely.
So, you want to continue? You want to just wrap it up there?
Let's wrap it up.
Okay. It was great having you here, even though we live together. I know you. When we first met, you were shy, even though you're still kind of shy at times. But I appreciate you coming here, even though you live here.
You mean coming and
on the podcast? On the podcast, yeah. I've been trying to get you to join for months, so I'm glad you did. People can now follow you on Instagram, Over the Moon Owls. I think that's the only thing you have, right? You don't have an Over the Moon Owls on Facebook or Twitter, at least not yet. But maybe one day.
I actually do have it on Facebook, but I don't remember
So let's just say for now it's just over Instagram, and then in the future, if you decide to do any other like a social media account or a website, you'll just post it on Instagram, and then people can find it.
Yep.
All right. And your email is overthemoonowls@gmail.com.
Yes, it is.
All right. And I'll post all that information on the description of this episode. Is there anything you want to say before we sign off?
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. Why wouldn't I? You're welcome to come back anytime.
Thank you. And I want to thank the listeners for listening in. Not only in this episode, but...
And now they know how to reach you.
Exactly.
They can contact you on Instagram or your email.
And hopefully I can come back once my Etsy shop is up and running.
Which you'll announce on Instagram.
Which I will announce on Instagram.
I'm certain. It'll be soon.
Yes.
So if somebody contacts you now and wants something, you'll talk to them on email and vice versa to figure out what it is that they want, and you'll create it?
Sure.
Okay. That's good. Can you give them a discount since you were here? Like, I'm gonna tell them to reference this podcast, and you'll give them a discount.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, that's a deal. I'll hold you to it.
10% off.
10% off their first order.
Their first order.
That's a good deal. I think I might have to jump on that, even though we live together. All right, guys. You know how to reach me, and on Twitter. Well, I'll put all that stuff at the links in the description of this episode. I gotta go. So that was a fun episode. You got to know a little bit about Diana, a creator and owner of Over the Moon Owls. Again, her Instagram is Over the Moon Owls. I'll be posting that in the description of this episode. And as you know, we're in a relationship. This was good because we got to know a little bit about each other, things that we didn't probably never asked. So I highly suggest if you're in a relationship to do something like this. You get to find out things about your partner. So this was fun, and definitely check out her Instagram, Etsy. You guys have her email now, overthemoonowls@gmail.com. In the next episode, it's going to be Javier and myself. We're going to talk about some things, and as always, and we're going to go into detail about a giveaway that we're going to be doing in the month of July. So stay tuned for those details. When it starts, we'll probably go into. It'll come out in the Twitter and Facebook not over the moon. Bits for You podcast on Twitter, Bits for You podcast on Facebook. So follow us there so you guys can be up to date on this giveaway.